Good morning. My name is Chris, and this is Type 2 Talk. This channel was started to specifically give a little bit of a window into my experience as a Type 2 diabetic. I've had Type 2 diabetes now for about 2 months, and when I first started, there was really very little content from other Type 2 diabetics. Type 1 diabetics, absolutely, there's plenty of it. In fact, I feel like the vast majority of content creators who are diabetic are Type 1. They're very outspoken. They talk about their experience. They talk about the technology. Those are great. I follow a number of them on my personal TikTok and my YouTube. However, there really aren't a lot of content creators who are Type 2 that talk about the experience of having Type 2. And the content that I do see that's about Type 2 is very often from people who have, let's call it questionable science about how to cure Type 2 or how to, this one neat trick, that lowers your blood sugar. And I'm like, no, please stop with the misinformation. And the what is it, clickbait? Except I'm not sure we should call it clickbait. That's almost like watch bait, because like you're baiting people into watching videos. Anyways, I'm just like, I'll watch some of this and I'm like, no, no. Type 2 diabetes does not yet have a cure. You can maybe send it into remission, but then you're controlling it strongly through diet and potentially medication, exercise, stress management, all that kind of stuff. But if you stop those things, it comes back. It doesn't go away. And my lighting's about to be completely messed up here as I go into a tunnel. And you do need to watch your numbers. You need to know how your different foods are affecting you. And these content creators would have you believe, oh no, just take ginseng, sprinkle, clover seed. You hear all sorts of crazy things. Cinnamon is the big one. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Apple cider vinegar. Okay, have you actually read the study on that, sir? Because I did. I read that study. Then I asked my friend who teaches nurses. He is a DNP. I asked him, hey, what do you think about this p-value? And well, honestly, was their pool big enough? Are there other studies that kind of correlate with this? Always take anything a content creator says on the internet with a grain of salt. That includes me. Absolutely. Fact check me. And if I say something as a fact that is wrong, please let me know. I generally am going to try to present my opinion and my experience, because my experience is my experience. I might be wrong in maybe how I'm seeing it, but otherwise it's what I'm living. So, I'm not a medical professional. Nothing I say should be taken as medical advice. I'm not a nurse. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a certified diabetes educator. I do not have that knowledge, training, or certification. I'm what am I? I am a chief technology officer. I'm a programmer. I'm a developer. I am a manager. You want to ask me about how to run a tech project or how the technology inside that project works? Great. You want to talk to me about Night Scout, how exciting that is? I would love to talk more about that. I don't know enough about it myself. I have a Night Scout instance. I have a CGM that pushes up to it, and I can see my numbers on my watch. And I've got a little iPad at work just to watch my numbers, more so that I have an awareness of where things are at. So, if I had one thing I could say to somebody who's newly Type 2 diabetic, it's going to be okay. It's going to be all right. You're going to get through this. You're going to go through a lot of emotions. A lot of emotions. And you're going to struggle. You're going to make mistakes. The first time I used a glucometer, the little finger prick one, I wasted the first 2 lancets and test strips. I broke my Lancer spring, and I didn't understand why when I was trying to eject the lancet, it wasn't ejecting the little needle. I'm like, I'm pretty sure this is supposed to eject this way. It's because I pushed it in so far, I broke the spring. Oops. And after a while, I'm watching some YouTube videos and figure out, I did that. Cool. I mean, it still works. I just have to, use my fingernail to sort of get it out. And I'm not the happiest about that, but, I'll be safe. I actually ended up just getting a second Lancer from Amazon. It works correctly. The other one is now my emergency Lancer. I actually forget where it is right now. I think it's at home. But if you're a type 2 diabetic, get a glucometer. If you're in the United States, you don't need a prescription for them. If you're going to have insurance, buy it, and you cannot afford to buy one on your own, you may need to wait for insurance. If you can afford to buy one, even a Walmart one, which are really, really cheap, okay? But you know what? That's fine. Get that, because at least you have some data. Because then with that data, you now can arm yourself. What's the number that you've got right now before a meal? A couple hours after you started eating your meal is what everyone seems to say, but I think of it in my head as an hour after you finish eating. It's, generally pretty close. When you wake up and before you go to bed. And just start tracking your numbers. Sure, you can get one that syncs to your phone. That's what I did. The day after I got that A1C of 6.9, I was like, I'm just going to go to Target. I'm going to buy a $50 glucometer, because in the end, I know this is going to happen. Even if it's a fluke and somehow my number goes down and they're like, oh, maybe you don't really have it yet. It's going to happen eventually. I'm not wasting my money. Let's just go and get one now. And I did. And my numbers were definitely in the diabetic range, which kind of sealed my fate a bit, and that was a little frustrating. But additionally, it helped arm me with information about the foods I could and could not eat. I can't have white rice. I can, but my numbers are going to go up, and more than I really want them to. So I don't eat white rice, except unless it's like sticking to the chicken or something. Last night, I was at a lodge, and they served chicken and some mixed veggies and a baked potato. I did not eat the baked potato. Didn't even touch it. And I did eat the mixed veggies, and between that and then the cherry pie with and I asked them for a little bit of ice cream, it still sent my numbers up, and it went up above 180, which is, sort of more or less the standard, range of they want you under 180, an hour to 2 hours after you finish your meal. And I just try to keep it under 180 at all times if I can. And I've definitely been struggling with that some recently. And yeah, that meal sent me over. Okay, cool. You know what it didn't do? It didn't actually harm me. Didn't send me to the hospital. I didn't have to go outside and exercise for 30 minutes or anything like that. I learned, hey, you know what? I probably shouldn't have those mixed veggies, which did have peas and corn in it, which are starchy vegetables, and the little bit of pie and ice cream. Maybe next time I say no to the pie and I try the veggies. Or I could, I suppose, skip the veggies and go for the pie. But I feel like one of those is slightly healthier than the other. That being said, I don't hold myself to an impossible standard. Mind you, I also find ways to make it work. This is a Starbucks drink. This is a vanilla sweet cream cold brew. It's got half serving, I think is what they call it, of the vanilla sweet cream. 70 calories, 4 grams of sugar. Tastes like coffee. I like it. I don't like their black coffee, which is the only other one I can really have in standard my carb budget for the meal. But it tastes good. I enjoy it. I still get my caffeine. And yet, I'm only giving myself 4 grams of carbs. So, as a type 2 diabetic, yeah, I'm going to be way more cognizant of what carbs are in foods, what I'm eating, and then how's it affecting my body. And once I could, and I met with my doctor and I said, hey, I want more data. I always want more data. He said, fine, here's a prescription for a CGM. Our insurance won't cover it because I'm with Kaiser. But you know what? You can take this and you can go to Walgreens, Target, whatever, and get one there. And I did. In fact, I just picked up my refill for the next month, 28 days really. And I love tracking the numbers because I do get to see very quickly, how is that food affecting me? If I get up and walk around the building a few times even, it'll send my numbers down. And so that's really powerful data for me to have. So I hope you will join me on this. Sometimes I'll be recording in the car. Sometimes I'm just going to be out walking around. Sometimes I might even record in my office at home. We'll just kind of see how the experience goes, and honestly, mostly how the sound recording goes. So I will talk to you guys later.